to the I'm Just Saying podcast. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Gabe.
We're back at it with another episode. We recorded one last week, but technical difficulties happened. You know, it was our first one, so we use that as a dummy one. So we was just trying to see like the format we wanted to go, how we wanted to go about it, the format of the podcast we wanted to do. But this is our second one. I'm feeling a little bit better.
This will be the first one you
less
see.
nerves. Yeah, this is gonna be the first one like uploaded on YouTube, cause I think we pretty much figured out like everything, and but I'm feeling a lot better today. A lot less nerves. How you been this week though, Gabe?
I've been all right, man. I've been all right. Long week though. It's Thursday.
Yeah, it's a long week, man. I'm tired. School, extracurricular activities, like everything, but the show must go on. This week in sports, man, the Aaron Rodgers injury. That's crazy.
Aaron Rodgers four snaps into his tenure as Jets starting quarterback, and he popped his Achilles.
Yeah, it was like that. It reminded me of KD in the 2019 finals.
In Toronto.
Seeing it like when I didn't even see the initial pop on until they slowed it down. I had to go on Twitter and like watch the slow down version of it. And I was like, yeah, that's definitely an Achilles. Because I was talking about the ankle. I was like, nah, that's an Achilles injury. But that's crazy though, because I had the Jets as my Super Bowl favorite. I really think that I really thought that Aaron Rodgers would have elevated Garrett Wilson, because Garrett Wilson came off a 1,100-yard, 4-touchdown season with Zach Wilson and Mike White at the helm of his quarterback situation. But with a Hall of Fame quarterback, I thought he was going to have maybe upwards of 1,500 yards, maybe 10 TDs. We were going to see that out of Garrett Wilson, but I think they're going to rely on Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall a lot more this season, like they were run first last season. But it's just sad, man.
I was watching on my way back. I was driving home from Memphis, and I had it on like on my phone while I was driving.
Yeah.
And I was listening to the Manning cast. I was just listening to it, and it was like I think Josh Allen came in and. They got off the field, and everybody's excited because that's what everybody was talking about all summer long. Is Aaron Rodgers coming in and being the Jets quarterback, and the Jets, and everybody had like a lot of people had them win the AFC, a bunch of people had them win the Super Bowl. That was dominated this summer, and even like all the controversy around him leaving Green Bay, and going into the darkness retreat, and doing all that stuff, and then he comes out, and I hear him, and Aaron Rodgers comes out, it's like incomplete pass, completed pass, whatever, 2-3 plays, not that great, nothing crazy. And then that fourth play, he got pressured and threw the ball out, took a hit. And I remember, like, I looked at my phone, was driving, I saw he got up, and I was like, okay, they're going to keep going.
He got up looking for a play.
Yeah, and
because I was watching with my friends. Yeah, he got up looking for a play.
He got up, and then he
just
sat back down. Sat right back down, and I was like, oh, okay. And that's what concerned me, is the fact that he got up and then sat back down, And I remember one of the thing was Peyton Manning was like, tweaked his ankle or something like that. He's going to come out. And I remember thinking, like, dang, that sucks. Because it really, like, it's his debut. I mean, Everybody's excited. It was New York. Everybody was really, was pretty pumped. And then he got up and then immediately sat back down. But I had assumed, like, I was like, okay, well, he's done for this game. Zach's got to come in, but who cares? We'll talk about the rest of the game here in a second. But, like, I was like, okay, whatever. And then it was like about halftime, that they were talking, and they were like, there's a lot of fear that it is an Achilles injury, because then they started replaying it.
Yeah, he was right in a boot.
He was in the boot, and they took him off, but they started, it was the replay, and somebody had mentioned, they were like, oh no, and they like looked at his calf, and made that pop, and that's when everybody mentioned KD. It was like, everybody's seen that pop before. It was definitely towards Achilles, at least that was the fear. And then they confirmed it. So, he's done for the season. And then
a lot of players a lot of the Jets players was like, it's turf for grass. But I think in that situation, he would have tore it anyway.
Yeah, if you were going to
it's a 250-pound DN running after you, and the way your leg is extended, it's probably going to
it's 38 years. Yeah, 38 years old. He was dealing with the calf. I think he was dealing with the calf injury. That's the reason he didn't play any preseason games. He was already kind of dealing with the calf injury. It's one of those things. I never blame something like one thing when it comes to like an Achilles or an ACL tear. Most of the time, like, it's gonna happen. It's just like how and when it's gonna, like, most guys like that, most athletes like that, it's coming. If you're gonna tear it, it's gonna get torn, but you just gotta wait for it. And I mean, 38 years old, he'll be 39 before he can get back on the field. It's been 2 years since he's played. It's gonna be tough for him for sure. I don't know if he comes
I
back.
don't know.
A
I
lot of
think he
people,
comes back though.
I think he does only because he's a prideful man, and I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to he's going to limp off the field. I
Yeah.
think even no matter how his career ends, I think he's the kind of guy that he'd like to end it on his own terms. I mean, that's the only reason
Yeah.
he left Green Bay is he wasn't going to let Green Bay
Facts.
let Jordan Love. He wasn't going to just lose his job to Jordan Love, and then that's how he left. Like he was like, oh, okay, you don't want me, I'm going to go to New York. So I think he's a prideful guy, and I think he'll be back. I don't know. I don't know how good
I
he
don't know
will
how
be
good
when
he'll
he'll
be
be
either.
back. It sucks definitely for the Jets because they invested a lot in this team
True.
I mean, getting Dalvin Cook and
Yeah, they were Super Bowl or nothing. Yeah.
getting Cobb, getting everybody that they got, trying to shore up their offensive line. I mean, just coaching staff, everybody. I mean, top to bottom, they went all in on this team,
In fact. Yeah.
and now they've gotten all in, and Zach Wilson's gonna have to do something. But at the end of the day,
He
they
won.
did
He won
one.
the
So
first
they
game
Jets went into overtime with the Bills.
off a punt
Zach
return.
and they won off a punt return, which is crazy. Zach Wilson came in and threw an interception early, but then after that didn't look too bad. He looked
Yeah.
okay. Josh Allen looked horrendous. I don't know what Josh Allen.
He just I don't know. I'm not a big fan. I don't think the Bills will ever win a Super Bowl under Josh Allen. Like I don't know. I feel like he's such a great talent, 6'5",
Yeah,
that big, 240, run. He can truck a linebacker. Like, of course he's big enough. He's athletic enough. He's a specimen. However, like, I just feel like he's a true he's a gunslinger. Like, he really reminds me of Jameis Winston in the Buccaneer system.
yeah,
But he's not as bad as Jameis Winston when it comes to like picks
yeah.
and stuff. But he does
Well,
remind me of that for the simple fact, like, bro, the reads that you make. I understand that you trust Stephon Diggs. I understand that but like the reads that you make, like you're forcing. You're not like going through your reads. Okay, maybe I can use my legs or just throw it away. I just feel like he's like forcing, and he was just very like antsy and like anxious to just make a play in situations that plays could not be made.
Yeah, he's always trying to look for the big play.
Yeah,
And that's why he threw three interceptions in the game. I mean, they would have won the game even threw
and he
three
fumbled.
interceptions, and he fumbled,
And he
and
fumbled. He ran
taking
in. He
bad.
ran into one of his guards, I think.
Yeah. Well, one I just knew
Or
it
tackles.
immediately. I saw it's a meme. It went around like everybody was talking about it. But that one where he like drifted out of the pocket and took off to the left and tried to hurdle
Yeah.
a linebacker like with 20 like on the 20-yard. I don't know what he was doing. He just kind
Yeah.
of paused and then tried to hurdle him and
Hmm.
people were saying like I saw somewhere on Instagram it was like Josh Allen either thinks he's the greatest quarterback to ever live or he's got some mental issues cuz like what are you doing?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with a check down pass. There's nothing wrong with throwing the
Exactly.
ball out of bounds
Exactly.
and taking another, go to the next down. There's nothing wrong with just running out and picking up 1 or 2 yards and just running out of bounds. Like you don't have to. I don't know. You don't have to throw it in
You
the
don't
triple
have to
coverage.
force
You
it
don't
down.
have to try to truck your defense. I mean, he's gonna get himself hurt. I don't know. I don't know what he was doing. He's got to clean that up
He does.
if the Bills win. I mean, he's one of the best
McDermott, I
quarterbacks
feel
in
like
the
that's
league.
his quarterback. That's a head coaching. Like he needs to sit down.
That's
Talk
what
to Sean McDermott. Like, bro, you gotta like match the system. Like you don't have to be a superstar. Like you're gonna be a superstar through the system that we create for you.
That's what I'm saying. I do think it is on the head coach and on the OC to create a system for him that allows him to maybe just drop back a little bit and just be
Yeah.
more of a pass first type of game manager at times to where he it's okay to just drop back and
Yeah, like,
find
look
your
at,
reads
like,
and
Patrick
take
Mahomes knows he's a magician, but like I'm pretty sure he sticks to Andy Reid's
yeah, just
system.
stick to your schedule. Don't try.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always playing hero ball
Yeah.
for better or worse, and that's why they lose these big games. Because I mean, regular season darlings the past like 3 4 years, everybody's been talking. Oh, they're gonna get the AFC. They're gonna win the AFC, and then they haven't yet. And I think it's that reason. I mean, they lose
Yeah.
these big games on these bad decisions. So I mean, whatever the Bills got to do, they got to clean it up. I think they're still going to have a great season.
Yeah,
They
they
always
will.
do. They're gonna have regular season success for sure. Postseason, I don't know, but they'll have regular season success. The Jets, however,
I don't know. I'm skeptical about him.
Zach Wilson, man, he if he plays like he did that night, like their roster is so good.
I feel like their
is great.
defense is good enough to give Zach the opportunity to just be a game manager.
That's what I'm saying.
Like let me see, like I don't want to disrespect any QB in the NFL.
Well, I think like Nick Foles, like when you think about those
Yeah,
that
yeah,
Philly
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
Philly
yeah,
team
that
when
defense, yeah.
Carson Wentz was playing at
Yeah.
MVP caliber level and he
Yeah.
was their number one pick and that was
like
a
a
good
Blake
team.
Bortles,
Yeah.
when Jalen Ramsey and
Yeah,
the Jaguars,
like
defense.
those. Yeah, that's the thing. Like those, and then like that defense, that offensive line, those people, the pieces that Philly team had was
Yeah.
good enough that Nick Foles could have won that Super Bowl, and he did. And he came in and he just played good enough with the
Yeah,
pieces, and they still ended up winning. So he still came in after Wentz and still won the Super Bowl. And technically, I guess that could happen. I'm not thinking the Jets are going anywhere
yeah.
in the playoffs. I think they're definitely good enough to still make the playoffs with that
Oh,
roster and
100%,
that defense.
100%, 100%.
To,
Especially in the AFC right there.
I think,
And
in my opinion,
they're in the East, right?
yeah.
Yeah, AFC East. Yeah, I don't see the Patriots being that good.
No.
Who else is in there?
I mean,
Who else is
Dolphins,
with them?
Bills, it's a tough division, but
Yeah,
we'll see how
I
that
don't know.
goes.
Yeah, we're gonna see.
It'll be tough. I mean, I still think they have the talent to definitely
Yeah, they could be a
make.
wild card team,
They could
100%.
definitely make the playoffs. It's just, in my opinion, I think Zach Wilson will have to lose them games. I think they have a good
Yeah,
enough. I definitely think they have a good enough roster that Zach Wilson would have to lose them games,
yeah,
as opposed to somebody else winning them. Like Aaron Rodgers would have won them a Super Bowl. Like they
100%.
would have taken them
That's why I had him
from.
as my favorites.
Yeah, but I don't know. They gotta clean up, see what they're gonna do from there. Like I said, I think they'll be a run first team now,
Yeah,
especially with Brees Hall playing the ways. I didn't think he played that well out of injury, but he looked really, really great.
he played insane. Like that 80 yard,
Yeah,
one
like
that was
80 to
crazy.
88 yard run.
Yeah, and he
That
was
was
like he looked explosive. But moving on,
on to the next biggest story in
Colorado
football.
again.
Colorado football
They're,
again.
they're making people believers for sure. I wasn't a believer before week one. Week one made me like, okay, maybe. But I was talking to my dad about after the TCU game. I was like, yeah, Travis is crazy. Shadur is insane. Like he's playing way better than a lot of people, including myself, thought. But he was like, maybe, man, they don't have film on them. Blah blah blah. I was like, maybe we're gonna see Nebraska because Nebraska is a rivalry game. But they took care of business, and Shadur made that game very personal. Did you see the pregame speech?
I did.
Oh
I
yeah,
did. Yeah, so Colorado
yeah,
came in. They knocked off number 17 TCU to start the season. That was
yeah,
like big, and then they got ranked, and everybody. And they dominated the news and the headlines, and everybody's talking about, Shadur Sanders and
yeah.
Travis Hunter and Deion Sanders, and everybody's talking about the team that they pulled. I mean, 400+ yard receivers. I mean, it was a great game.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of people, a little bit including myself, was like, well, I would like to see it happen again. Just show me just a little bit more. I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket after one game.
Yeah.
And they came in, they took care of Nebraska, 36-14. Matt Rule, also first time head coach. I mean, they're in a similar situation. Also had a team with a bunch of transfers. They could have been the same team, but obviously I like that they showed like two parallels of how
Yeah.
that could happen because Nebraska, of course, sucks. They always do. They used to be good, now they're not. And then Colorado, first year head coach, many transfers, and now they've taken the country by storm.
Yeah.
I think they have borderline, like not even borderline. I think they do at the moment have two Heisman candidates playing for their team in
100%.
Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter. They're second in the Pac-12 right now, in a pretty decent Pac-12. I mean, RIP the Pac-12, but at the same time, like you still got squads in that conference at the moment. You got Oregon, you got USC, you got Utah, UCLA, whatever, and they're second right now. They're 18th in the AP poll. Is
Yeah.
their highest rating they've been in a long time.
A long time.
Forever. I don't even know. So, college game day's coming to town for them to play Colorado State. They're playing
speaking of
Colorado
that,
State. They're getting college game
I
day.
was on my phone. I was looking at a tweet. Colorado State head coach Jay Norvell. He was like, "Yeah, my parents taught me, or when you talk to adults, take your hat and your glasses off." And it's just basically, I don't know why people are continuing to like diss Dion. Like, I feel like they're just trying to get their name in the media. Like, you don't have to diss Dion. Dion doesn't do anything. Dion just believes in his players and he
That's what I'm
believes in
saying.
himself and he believes in his system. So I don't feel like there's a reason for you to like go out your way to try to put yourself in the media because you're talking about Dion. But Dion, to his players in practice today, said it was just going to be a good game, but they messed around and made it personal.
Yeah, they're gonna come in. I think they're gonna whoop Colorado State. I think they're gonna come in.
Oh, they're going to probably beat them
start
by
the
40.
season 3-0. They're
The
gonna
spread might be like 40 points almost.
they're gonna come in. They're gonna whoop Colorado State. They're gonna come in 3-0.
Yeah.
They're gonna make it personal. I mean, Shadur Sanders in his first two
Nah,
games.
he's insane. Like, he doesn't throw picks. Like,
Yeah, first two
he's
games.
making plays. Caleb Williams makes, like, I can't wait for that USC game.
Yeah,
But
USC.
I do think, though, the only thing that I feel like that can hold Colorado back at the moment is the O-line.
Yeah,
Because
O-line's
Shadur
not
got
super
sacked
great.
like 6 times against Nebraska. Like, he got sacked 6 times. He still had a great game, but the score was 36-14. Imagine all those sacks don't happen. Maybe, like, you cut away 3 to 4. The plays that he may be able to make, that would put more points up on the board.
900+ yards through his first two games,
No
which is
interceptions.
absolutely insane.
How many touchdowns did he do? Like, he probably – because they scored 45 against TCU and they scored 36. I'm trying to think of how many touchdowns, like, that his hand was on it. maybe like
He's already had
five,
like 5 or 6 touchdowns so far this season. I
five,
don't know
six.
exactly, but
Yeah,
already like 5 or 6 at
yeah.
least. He's had a couple on the ground. Like I said, 900 yards through two. I mean, almost. You're touching almost 1,000 yards in 2 games. Like
True. It is
guys
insane.
would. There's a ton of
Yeah,
starting
like they're
quarterbacks
they're
who
playing
would be
like
happy if they threw for like 3,000, 3,500 yards in a season.
yeah.
And 2 games, he's almost. He'll definitely probably eclipse 1,000 yards in his third game already. I mean,
Oh, he'll 100% eclipse 1,000. That's crazy.
absolutely wild numbers. Travis Hunter is still that guy. He's the best player on their team for sure. The athleticism it takes
Yeah,
play
he's insane.
to play defense and offense to get to be a wide receiver and then come on the other end and play in the secondary and make the plays that he's made. Those crazy interceptions, the pressures, the reads, everything he's doing. He's
I like the way that Dion and his OC is using Travis as like a decoy on
yeah.
offense because it opens up things for Weaver. Weaver had a big game.
Yeah, he's had
Uh,
two hundred
yeah,
plus yard receiving games.
where he had 2 TDs last
Yeah,
game as well.
yeah,
It's
Xavier
like opening
Weaver's
up stuff for Jimmy Horn as
I think
well.
Xavier Weaver is definitely their best receiver, and there should be their number one target because
Hmm.
I think you shouldn't have Travis Hunter trying to be number one on both. Like you shouldn't
I
have.
mean,
I mean, he
but
definitely
their
could, and that's
teams are using
impressive.
their best DB to cover Travis when he's out there. So
But I think Xavier Weaver should be their first target and
yeah,
should be getting most of these numbers. He's played good. Jimmy Horn has played really really well.
yeah,
He also
he's
had
a
100
guy.
yards the other day, but he'll
He's a
he'll
guy.
continue to do it.
He had a pretty good story. I think it was Jimmy Horn. His dad is incarcerated, and they were talking about it on TV against in the Nebraska game. I think his dad. I'm pretty sure it's Jimmy Horn, but his dad is incarcerated, and when he chose to go to Colorado, him and his dad had a conversation. He was like, "Take care of my son." He said, "I got
Yeah.
you." Yeah,
Yeah, it's a great team. Also, I mean, I just love them. To be honest with you, it's my favorite story in college football right now.
a
It's my
hundred
favorite story
percent,
maybe in sports right now.
100%.
Maybe because a lot of people hate and a lot of people love them. And there's so much, they're just so polarizing right now. Like you even saw, I mean, Stephen A. was there.
T.O. was on the
Yeah,
sideline,
Shannon Sharp,
and Michael Irvin was
Michael
there.
Irvin was there. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
the hot team right now, and I think they have every right to be. To be honest with you, they've come out and they've won and they've proved a lot of
And I
people
think
wrong.
they're
I
just
thought,
like they're just playing to play. Like,
what to say?
of course they're playing with a chip on their shoulder, but I watch Travis Hunter's like YouTube and stuff of game day. He's just out there having fun.
Travis Hunter looks like he's having the time
Yeah,
of his life.
yeah, he's just literally having fun.
No, they're one of the best teams out there right now. I would say they're still. I wouldn't go so far as say top 10, top 15 yet. I think 18's a fair ranking. If they keep winning, like I don't mind. I
I
definitely
think
think
the
their test.
USC game
Yeah,
would
the
tell.
USC game
The
I think is
USC
what
game would
will tell
definitely
everything.
tell. Like, oh, okay. Well, like we know they're for real, but like
Yeah, the
I feel like
top
the USC game would definitely tell.
USC's ranked fifth right
Yeah,
now. They come in if they're still top five team somewhere in there.
yeah.
I don't need them to win, but I'm definitely gonna
I do want
see.
to see a close
I
game.
definitely
It could
gonna
be
see
like
how.
if I have a TCU repeat, they lose by a field goal. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
they're for
yeah.
real.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't need them
Yeah.
to win that game.
Hmm.
But if they come out and they play hard, especially if Shadur Sanders and Caleb Williams like have a true quarterback duel,
Yeah.
like I'll be watching that, and that'll get I think to be the best gauge of like how they're going to be moving
Yeah.
forward. And again, people say it all the time, it's just the first year under Deion Sanders. You think they're playing this well right now, and they've had all these pieces and recruited this well and transferred and portaled this well?
Mhm.
If he sticks around in Boulder, like that's the program. He's building an actual program.
No, he is.
He's building an
He's
actual
definitely
program out
like
there. So if not this year, if not next year, like soon,
he'll win.
they will
He'll
be
win.
knocking on the door.
CFP
And
for sure. Especially because of the expansion of CFP.
that's what I'm saying.
Like,
Once
they'll
it gets
probably
to
be
12
in
teams,
next year if this season goes really
they
well.
continue the way they're on.
Yeah.
Shadur Sanders still plays for them. I
I
mean,
don't know.
there's
Shadur may lead this season because I was looking at Mel Kiper's draft, little draft like mock draft, and
yeah.
Shadur was the fifth best prospect on there.
He's wild. I definitely think Travis Hunter's a top 5 draft pick, top 5, top 10 draft
Yeah,
pick.
he's gonna have that Marvin Harrison like as soon as he's able to get drafted, then
Oh
we
yeah,
all
he'll
know
take
he'll
off.
be
He'll
a
be done.
top three pick.
He's ridiculous. They have a good team. They have really great skills position. Like
Yeah, they got guys for sure.
they have one of the best probably skill position rooms. Again,
Yeah,
offensive and
they
defensive
have
line.
guys, man. They got
Offensive
guys.
defensive line can definitely use some
I mean, but
work
that'll
and some
come.
improvement.
That'll come with seeing the winning culture because they interviewed Dion and asked him about recruiting or whatever. He's like the calls have been rampant. Like
Oh yeah,
as soon as they started winning, so
everybody wants to go to
everybody wants-
Colorado
yeah.
now. I mean, they're the hot new team. If
Yeah.
you're a high school prospect and
Yeah.
you're looking at, I mean, you're definitely taking a trip out to Boulder Because
100%.
who wouldn't want to play for Deion Sanders? And he's clearly shown in his time, not only in Colorado but Jackson State, that
Yeah.
like he breeds winning. I mean, they won where he's run wherever he's at. So I don't need him to prove to me that he can win. I just want to see this a little, keep going and keep moving forward. And I think they're going to be crazy deadly. I enjoy watching them play. It's
Yeah.
fun. They're playing an entertaining brand of football right now. I mean, it's just fun to watch. Again, Shadur Sanders, some of the plays that he makes running out, almost stepping out
No,
of bounds.
he's
That one
insane.
pass he had Saturday, nearly stepping
He
out
took
of
his
bounds.
helmet off.
Yeah, took his helmet, almost
Yeah.
stepped out of bounds.
He's
Somehow was
insane.
able to complete that pass for a touchdown. I don't know. He is crazy. Travis Hunter is
Travis Hunter.
he's a unicorn. I love watching him play. Xavier Weaver's really, really good. I like watching
Yeah,
him
he's
out
great.
there. It's a fun team to watch. I have no hate towards them at all. I want to see, before I say they're top 15, top 10, I'm going to have to gauge it with these next couple games because soon they'll have Oregon and USC and UCLA.
Yeah,
And
Oregon
they'll
is
have these.
13. Do they play Utah this year?
I don't know. Don't they all play? I think they
It's
all play.
Pac-12 though.
I
but
think the
I don't know.
Pac-12 plays everybody, don't
I
they?
don't know, but they have Utah's 12. Washington is
Pac-12
8.
ain't bad. Yeah, Pac-12 ain't bad. They're going to get a lot of
Pac-12
these
got a
teams.
lot of top 15 teams.
That's my thing. They got Pac-12 has a bunch
I
of
didn't know
ranked.
this.
There's a bunch of ranked teams.
Oregon State
Yeah.
16. Colorado's right at 18 right now. I feel like the somebody in the top 17 is going to lose this week or have a bad game, like Alabama did.
Like
I
Alabama.
ain't gonna lie, I knew Alabama was gonna lose. I even put I bet $10 with my friend about the whole Alabama. I'm just not. I've said this last episode that y'all not gonna see, but I'm just not a believer in Jalen Milroe. Like
No, not right now.
I don't think he fits Saban like in his system. Like Saban has come off of was it 4 straight starting quarterbacks in it like in the NFL right
Four
now.
straight
Jalen
like first
Hurts,
rounders.
Tua, Mac Jones, Bryce Young. Like these are like 4 straight first round quarterbacks in the NFL. And Jalen Milroe just doesn't have the same it factor that all of them have. And Quinn Ewers did an amazing job against the Alabama defense with 349 yards and 3 TDs.
Quinn
Put
Ewers.
up 34 points.
Yeah, beat Alabama 34-24. I mean, we were at our football game. We were at the Tennessee Austin game. Finished that up. Have more to say about that later, but finished that
Yeah.
up. Came back, turned on the game, and I remember Texas was up by like 3 points, and then it was like 10-7 or something like that. And then Alabama came back and took the lead, and then Texas took the lead again. I forget, maybe in the third quarter, and they never let it go. I thought it was going to be.
And
I
their
didn't think it was going to
their
be.
defense looks for real too. Like,
Defense looks for real.
For
Texas
real.
beat Bama 34-24.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that Texas forced a couple of turnovers, couple of interceptions. Texas,
Yeah,
man, I
he
thought
had-
Texas was going to win. I am outside of Tennessee, grew up in Texas, so I am a Longhorns fan.
Yeah.
But man, they low key dominated. Like 34-24 doesn't seem like they
look
dominated,
insane, though.
but they really dominated in every aspect. They dominated on both sides of the ball as far as like their D line dominated, their offensive line dominated. Alabama has a great linebacker room, and Texas offensive line, they held up.
Yeah.
They kept Quinn Ewers, allowing Quinn Ewers to make the game. Receivers, I think Texas has like mad receivers. Xavier Worthy is
He's
crazy, and plays that he's able to make, and the
And it's kind of crazy. Like as soon as yours leave, they have Arch Manning right behind them.
Yep.
Just sitting there soaking it all in, just learning.
Texas is
But
A.D. Mitchell,
what
who
surprised me though was how good Texas defense was. Jalen
Yeah.
Milroe got sacked 5 times, and
yeah.
he threw 2 interceptions, and he only had a 50% completion rate.
Yeah, five sacks with 2 TDs. That Texas defense, they dominated there. They were dominant. I mean, quarterbacks weren't even close. It was night and day. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think Quinn Ewers is like quite the number 1 player in high school like he was recruited out of to be.
He's
He's
still
coming out of high school
insane.
as number 1
He's
player.
crazy, though.
But he played really, really well. He
Yeah.
has been playing really well. Texas win. Like he doesn't put up like crazy numbers like all these other quarterbacks do. But I mean, when he's playing, Texas wins. If he finished that game last year in the week 2, Texas would have beat Alabama last year. That's why I kind of thought Texas was going to win. Anyways,
I think Texas would have been. Yeah,
yeah, because
I was
last
saying that
year,
yeah,
last year I was like, okay,
Even with Bryce
if
Young.
Quinn Ewers doesn't go down and Bryce Young doesn't keep Alabama in that game,
Yeah.
they lose that game. So Quinn Ewers is in the game, and Bryce Young is not with that team anymore, and it's just Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
I think Texas wins that game, and I was right. Texas ended up winning, and pretty, like I said, 10 points. This is the first time Alabama's been beat by, I think, double digits at home, and I don't even know how
I don't
long.
think Alabama just like a 10-point win is great against Alabama because Alabama's not a team because they have like the best defensive prospects
Yeah,
in the world, man.
their roster outside of the quarterback is
I
still
just don't like the
one
quarterback.
of the best, if
I'm
not the best
just
roster in the country. But the problem is
I'm
if
just
your
not convinced.
yeah, if your QB situation isn't worked out, then nothing else can possibly work out. I don't think Jalen Milrose is right for him.
I think I don't know if say I'm not a head coach, of course. I don't know
Yeah,
what's going on in practice,
of
but
course.
I think they may need to try and move away in a
What do you
situation
think they'll try and
like
do
just
in the
like
QB?
because they play who they play this week. Let me see Alabama schedule. I think they play like who do they play? They play USF. Get Jalen Milroe his
Yeah, South
reps,
Florida.
but I feel like you should see like your QB2, QB3 out. You should give him some film like to see how he's able to read and
I was
stuff
surprised.
like that.
I
Like
was kind of surprised they didn't try a new quarterback. Maybe they didn't want to because it's just such a high profile game. They
it
didn't want to
is,
try to throw a new QB in there.
yeah,
Not that Nick Saban is opposed to doing that. I mean, obviously he threw Tua
yeah.
and
He did with
he,
Tua and Jalen Hurts. Yeah,
but at the same time, so because of that, I was kind of surprised he didn't try it. But I think Jalen Milrose will start again. I don't think, like I said, I just think his playing style that you know run first QB, not great decision making. Like that's just not been
yeah,
what Nick Saban has had. For better or for worse, they used to not have like super great quarterbacks. Like used to Alabama, like before these past couple. Like, can you even name a starting QB in the NFL that was an Alabama quarterback? They weren't anything great. It was the rest of their roster. It was their their running offense.
yeah,
It was all of that stuff. It wasn't until recently that they've had these string of high profile. I mean, 5 starters in the NFL like
yeah.
right now.
Fact.
But I kind of think it's hurting them now because I think Nick Saban and his staff has definitely relied
They got used to that. Yeah,
on having these playmakers, these big guys
because you
who
know
can do
you
this.
probably draw some up, but if Bryce doesn't like what he sees, he's gonna make a play.
Look,
Tua doesn't like what he sees, he's gonna make a play. But also Tua, Jalen Hurts, and Mac Jones, they had NFL caliber receivers. I don't. There's no
True,
big names in
Devontae
the
Smith
Alabama.
and
Yeah,
stuff like that. They
yeah.
had a
There's no
bunch of
big
dudes.
names in Alabama as far as right
Yeah.
now. They have just like made themselves like, oh, I'm a top wide receiver in the nation or whatever. But
Hey, the Alabama's got a great roster, especially on like the defensive line, linebackers, edge rushers, all that kind of stuff's really really great. I think their running game is still really
yeah,
good. They just got dominated, like just their offensive line. I think actually Alabama's offensive line is pretty good. I don't even know how they let up
it's 5 sacks.
5 sacks.
Yeah,
It's crazy, but that's the testament to Texas's
yeah,
defense and what they were able to do. Alabama's I'm not saying they're in shambles. I'm not saying. I mean, look, they could probably still lose like one other game this season, still win double digit games. But there is definitely, if to people who act like there's nothing wrong with Alabama, at least for their standards and the kind of excellence
yeah.
that they demand, something is wrong. The past borderline 3 years, but the past 2 years for sure, something's been wrong. Dropping the game to us, Tennessee, dropping that game to LSU. They could have lost to Texas last year. They almost lost to A&M last year.
Yeah.
Like they could have easily, without Bryce Young, been a 4-loss team last year.
Yeah.
Easily. And coming into this year, they got 1-1 right now because they've already lost their second game to Texas. They got more people coming up. We're coming in there. I mean, honestly, if we can figure ourselves out, like that gives me a little more hope that we could probably win in Tuscaloosa because Texas looked like the home team out there. They were
did.
calm. They were collected. They came in and dominated in the aspect that they just came in and ran their plays and did what they wanted, and they didn't look scared at all that they were playing against Alabama. They
Yeah.
did not care what Jalen Milrose was going to do. They were not scared of him. They were not scared of their receivers. Texas just came in and did their thing and came out with a victory. And
Yeah.
I don't know what Nick Saban does here. I definitely think Milrose will start against, was it Southern Florida?
USF. Yep.
Yeah, USF, but I think it's smart. Somebody else should probably get reps in there. I don't know if it's Tyler Buckner or Ty Simpson, but probably
Yeah.
Tyler Buckner is what I saw is next on the depth chart. But I mean, definitely try it out, see what happens. I'd always thought going into this season, especially with Alabama not knowing who their quarterback was going to be, and that was like the biggest story
Yeah,
all
that
summer
was
like
crazy.
what their QB situation
He was like, I'm not naming the QB1 until.
Yeah, nobody knew. I definitely have thought though that whoever started the first game, MTSU, like nobody really cared. Again, it's cupcake game. I always thought that whoever played Texas, like that was gonna be the big thing. If they won Texas, like if Milrose beat Texas, Jalen Milrose would be the starter of the rest of the season. Kind of no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Whatever happens in the rest of the season doesn't matter. He beat Texas. He's named the starter. But if he loses Texas, I thought he would lose that job. I don't know if he'll not start, but I definitely think it makes sense for them to try out their. I think they should try out all three and in the game and just see what happens. And I would even oppose to. I heard some people are going as crazy as keeping like just from here on out maintaining a 2 QB system. If like a Ty Simpson, a pocket passer, and then a Jalen Milrose, you need a quarterback with some
That
legs.
reminds me of like the Saints with what's his name, Taysom Hill and stuff like that.
Yeah, Taysom Hill
Yeah.
and Yeah,
But before we move on, I feel like I've also told I was talking sports with my friends. I was like, I feel like Texas is one of those teams that when they come into the SEC, they'll be a top four team. I just like Texas, man. I feel like Texas got the big boys up front to match with the SEC.
yeah.
They got the wide receiver room, the skilled players to match up with SEC, and they got the QB situation to match up with the SEC. But I'm excited to see when they move over to the SEC and see how the non-conference when they get rid of each division and see how that works.
Yeah, Texas coming in next year. They proved. I mean, this game was a staple game for
Yeah,
them because they had to prove that they could come in and compete in the SEC. I mean, if you beat Alabama right now, they're coming in the SEC, proving already to everybody that they
yeah,
are willing and capable to beat every single person in the SEC. They might not be able to beat a guy like Georgia. They might not be able to beat Alabama again, but they will show that they can compete for sure, and they'll be at the top of the conference next year when they come in, especially with Sark recruiting the way he is
yeah.
and
He is.
his off. I mean, Steve Sarkisian, head coach of the Longhorns, made his name in Alabama with that 2020
Yeah,
national champion run. That offense, I mean, it was his offense that won Devontae Smith the Heisman. That's like what got him Heisman winning receiver. Like,
yeah.
is that kind of offense that
And he
they
really
struggled
he
since
knew Saban's
he
system
left.
too.
He
So
knew his system. He knows. I mean, it was this. I think it's the second assistant coach to beat him outside of Kirby Smart. Just the
yeah,
second coach to beat him. I think the first one to beat him in Tuscaloosa. Like, it's crazy. And he's got a program he's building. Texas is looking nice. Like I said, Quinn Ewers, if he wants to leave for the draft, he can because Arch Manning's going to be right there. He's going
yeah.
to come right back up, and they're just going to keep rolling again. They're going to reload, and I think they're getting better and better. A.D. Mitchell, like I said, transfer from Georgia for them has been crazy. They have guys all over the field. Texas has guys all over the field. I think they're going to be nasty. Hot take, not so hot of a take. I think they're going to make the playoffs.
CFP.
I think they so because I think they'll probably.
I think they're in a good position. I don't. Let me see. Let me
They
look
have
at
to
the
go
schedule.
through the Big 12, and the Big 12 is always a bit of a bloodbath.
Texas schedule. Let's see. Looking at the schedule, I don't see them really losing a game.
Alabama was going to be that game they were going to lose.
They have K State and Oklahoma.
Yeah,
The only ranked
Oklahoma,
teams,
Red River Showdown. That's always tough, and you could throw rankings out the windows for there
uh,
because that's always going to be a toss-up game.
but I
But
just feel like Texas is so dominant this year.
they
It's
got
like a
yeah,
different type of. It's a different type of vibe to them that I'm getting. But
they're playing extremely well as they could possibly play, as well as I wish we could play. Because honestly,
yeah,
our team in
Tennessee
Texas,
really disappointed me week 2, man. I mean, they had a great game against Virginia, 49-13. We kind of started off slow.
we started off slow
We were
for
doing
sure.
just straight screen passes and pitches and hitches.
That's what I said.
Like,
The way I
was like,
explained it,
I expected an explosive offense just like we had last year, especially with our stronger arm behind center, with Joe Milton. But it wasn't that exciting. But I mean, we got the 49-13 win.
49-13 win is dominant. Like I said, we started off
But I'm coming back with second week
in Knoxville,
Neyland.
in Neyland.
I'm like, okay, the spread was like 46.5. So I'm like, we probably gonna score 50. They gonna have like 10 points, maybe 60. I don't know. But we only scored 30 points.
But I say I was looking it up. I didn't even see Vegas had odds for it because it's just like why even bet on
Yeah.
it? Like I said, we started off slow against Virginia. There was a little concern, but I remember telling people I was watching with, I was like, hey man, I'm not worried about it. Week 1 is everybody looks a little rusty.
Yeah.
Virginia's not a scrub of a team. It's not like the worst team we could possibly play. And then that second half we came in, dominated. Nico came in. I mean we did great after that.
Yeah.
And so, but I thought for sure I was like, look, we dusted off, week
The
1,
nerves and
but
stuff, yeah.
all that week 1, week 2, I legit thought we were probably gonna be Austin P by like 70, like for sure. Like I was seeing all these other schools, like
Yeah.
Oregon scoring 80 and Oklahoma beating Arkansas State like 70.
Yeah.
Like I was seeing all these other schools and every school left and right is like 68-3. So
Mhm.
everybody was eating, and I thought I was like, okay, well we didn't play one of those teams week 1, but now we got one of those, little cupcake games coming
Yeah.
in Neyland. I was like, we'll probably beat them no less than 50 points. I was gonna be surprised if they took us under 50 points.
I don't even think it was just up to Austin P. Why we just played bad. Like,
No,
disrespect to Austin
we
P.
didn't
but,
show
like,
up.
We didn't show up. Like, we didn't look prepared. It's like we just took the whole week off and just like, bro, it's Austin P. Like, we gonna win
I
regardless.
think
We
I
know
think
we
the
gonna
players
win. Yeah.
team probably thought what everybody else thought, that they were going to come in and it was going to be light work. And I definitely think Joe Milton thought he probably had like 2 quarters of play in him, and then
But I feel like that, like we should use this game as an opportunity to like stretch our offense. Be like, okay, we got to get more comfortable. We got
that's what I'm saying.
got to get
That's
more
what I thought.
acclimated with the offense, or whatever. But
really
we
tried
just didn't
stuff.
play good. And then we have Florida this week. Like Florida's not that good this year, but That's a big like
In the
rivalry game in
swamp
a swamp.
rivalry.
Like
Yeah, you can't
they
ever.
may upset us. We play like that, they can upset us. That's
One
what I'm
hundred
saying.
percent. We lose to Florida. If Florida
Yeah,
plays even normal, like to their standards, and we play like that, we'll still lose.
yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I've seen in the past the 2 games we have 2 plays of more than 20
And
yards,
I that's a problem with me because
and we had the most
we were
explosive
touchdown, bro.
offense.
We were the number one offense in the nation last year.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say we have an upgraded QB because like Henry Hooker is an
No,
NFL
no,
quarterback,
definitely not.
but I feel like and we lost both NFL caliber receivers,
We lost a couple.
but I was like, I mean, we got a stronger Roman QB, we still got Brew, we
And Brim
got
McCoy, Dante
yeah
Thornton, Squirrel White,
yeah
Ramel Keaton,
we
like
got Keaton,
we
we still got
have a
the
really great wide receiver room.
yeah
Why? I mean, even in this game, they're doing it. They were doing it in Virginia just a little bit, but this game, the receivers were dropping all types of passes. There was tons of stuff, like not all like trying to throw all the blame at Joe Milton because Joe Milton was hitting. He was hitting them, and there was a number of times they would
yeah
just drop. I know one Brew had one where he was trying to. I don't even know what was happening, man. Receivers weren't connecting. I think nobody's connected. Nope, it's just not gelling right now.
yeah
I think Joe Milton's not looking comfortable. The receivers, I think problem with the receivers, I didn't really think was going to be a problem. I honestly thought it was going to be a strength. I think one guy probably needs to step up
yeah we
and
don't
be
have
like,
a
we need
we
one of
don't
those
have a
guys
one
that
like
needs to step up.
Jalen Hyatt was our one
Yeah.
before him and Cedric Tillman. Like we need a one.
I think
for
none of
sure.
them know who that is, and I think
Yeah.
one of them should definitely like whether
But
it's
maybe
McCoy,
that's on the OC and the offense, or what Josh
definitely.
Heupel sees. Like maybe Josh Heupel does see like, man, this needs to be a system more than all right, we have a guy that we're gonna go to. But I feel like we need a guy like in those situations like 3rd and 11, like Colorado. All right, we got Weaver on the crossing route. We got Travis. We can go give him a fade ball. He gonna come down with it. We got Jimmy Horn. He can take a slant for 25, 30 yards. Like on those 3rd and 11 situations, we need a guy that like we can trust him. He's gonna score the ball. He's gonna get the first down.
Yeah.
So
So Tennessee does, people don't know, has a new offensive coordinator. Obviously,
yeah,
we lost our last one to USF, we talked
yeah,
about earlier. But I don't even think this should be a problem because I do think this is Josh Heupel's offense. Whoever's
yeah,
running it is just running Josh Heupel's scheme. Anyways, Josh Heupel might not be calling the plays. As far as the play calling goes, I still
yeah.
think it's been pretty conservative on our end. Lots
He's
of
very
screen passes,
conservative.
a lot of inside hands-off, a lot of pitches, a lot of Joe Milton, he's not his completion percentage isn't bad, but that's just because he's just taking those short little checkdowns all the
Yeah,
time and we're not really throwing it out, not airing it out. I don't know if we don't feel comfortable with it or what happened. Austin P should have been the opportunity to try those big plays and to make those big leaps, but we didn't take advantage of it. My only guess is like, you know what, whatever. We didn't take Austin P seriously. We didn't take or Virginia seriously, but we got Florida.
we got
The
Florida.
big rivalries, I do think they're going to take it seriously, and I don't think they're coming in. Even though, so the reason like Florida came in week 1
Mm-hmm.
against Utah
They
and
look terrible.
did not play great. I mean, Utah was down to what, their third, I think, QB at that point because their
Yeah,
first 2 went down. They were down to their third and manhandled Florida. Florida looked lost. Florida did not look good. Florida's QB situation's also up in the air. I mean, they didn't have a strong one going into this season.
but I do understand it's hard to come off going your NFL QB.
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
QB goes in
interesting.
NFL, so yeah.
No, it's that Florida not look good. They came in, I think, they played McNear State or something like that. I don't forget. They came in, they had a dominant second week.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
I got you.
Yeah, they had a dominant second week, but the Swamp is a tough place to play. We haven't won. Yeah, McNeese State,
Yeah, they did.
49-7. They had a dominant game, ran the ball super, super great, which is good for us. 'Cause even still, I think our defense has been playing pretty great the past 2 games. I mean, was it 10 tackles for loss?
Yeah, we do got our defense.
Multiple
It's kinda crazy.
sacks, multiple
It looks
turnovers.
like this season, like our whole like team.
Yeah, our defense is our
had
best.
terrible defense.
Is our best
last season.
our best
Great
unit right now is our
yeah.
defense and our linebackers and our defensive line has been playing really, really well. Secondary still hasn't been tested yet. We'll see how that happens. I don't think they'll really be tested that much in Florida either. Florida will definitely try to attack us on the ground, which might work in our favor. But like I said, playing in the Swamp, especially these rivalry games, even last year, I would say we were still a much better team than Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But the game was kind of close, like 38-34 or something like that. It was really not that. Anthony Richardson had a really great game. When it comes to these rivalry games, man, anything can happen. Like I don't really like these type of rivalry games. Those Tennessee Floridas, I never really take into account record and
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff and rankings because they're just throws at the window. Especially being in the Swamp, anything can happen. We play like we did last week, we'll definitely lose. But if we get our act together and pull pull it together.
You
And
need to.
they said that, like I said, I don't know if you heard, they had that like players only meeting
Yeah.
that Joe Milton was in, and they led, and I think that was good for them to get their heads back on. Think we'll be a little sharper on the O line, which has definitely been struggling because Joe Milton doesn't really get a chance to, like make the plays or find all the reads that he's trying to find if he doesn't have enough time to do it. So I don't know
But
what's
that
going
also
on.
comes with losing.
Yeah,
Going
I
right
don't
to
know.
the draft, yeah.
Yeah, top 10
Yeah.
pick to the draft. Look, we lost a lot of pieces. I think we're waiting for guys to step up. I think
Yeah.
talent is there. I think the team, I think the system, like Josh Heupel's system, is still, if it's run to perfection, is still going to be the best offense in the country. I just think we're waiting for these guys to like step up and make the big
Yeah.
plays. Because like to me, I hear a lot of stuff about like people want Nico in, and they're talking about Nico. I've heard that so much this past week. I don't want Nico in. I want Joe Milton to finish this season. I want him
Yeah.
to have the game. And if he played like he did in the like, I don't understand why we're not playing like we did in the Orange Bowl. Because a lot of these guys are the same exact dudes.
I
So
was saying, yeah, same exact dude.
I don't know what it is. If we can find that team and we play like that against Florida, we will dominate. We'll be. I mean, we're a top 10 team. They bumped us back down to 11, but like we acting like the sky's falling. We're top 11. We're 11th in the nation. It's not.
I just feel like
It's not that bad, but we do
we're
got to
gonna
clean
find
it
our
up.
identi- I think we're gonna find our identity
And
after
if
this
that means
Florida win.
for sure, and if that means
And,
we're not
yeah.
the same team that we were last year, because we're not. We're not the same team we were last year.
Yeah.
I think we should be much more reliant on our running back room. Our running backs are great. Dylan Sampson, Jalen Warren.
Yeah.
Like we have like a bunch of guys out there, and think they're going to be really really great for us too. I think they're averaging like 5-6 yards a carry, which is pretty insane. Obviously, Dylan Sampson
love
had
our
4
running back
TDs
room, man.
against Virginia. Like our running back room's great.
I do love our running back.
So if we have to be a run first offense, that's fine. But we have to find like what it is that's going to work best for us. We don't
Yeah.
have to like either force last year's offense or
Yeah.
just be real. Or I feel like we've been a little timid this year. So I don't know. Like I said, been frustrating as Vols fans to watch the past 2 weeks, but I think they'll get it up. It's only week 3. Florida's going to be a good test, a good gauge, kind of like USC is for Colorado. Look, Florida's not that good, but at the same time, if we can go into the swamp and we can come out of there with a victory, I think I don't have enough hope that I don't think it's not going to be a messy win. I think it'll probably be. I think we'll win. I hope we win, but I think it's going to be messy. I think both sides of the ball. I don't think Florida's that great. I don't think we're that great. I think it's going to be a tough football game to watch if you're into like clean football. But I think we scrape out of there with a win. I think that'll help propel us into the rest of the season and just kind of getting our stuff together.
Yeah, but moving on to the NFL.
We had
Week 1 was
opening week.
pretty surprising for me, man. There was a lot of surprises for week 1.
It was one of the most intriguing
it
week
was
ones that
really-
I can remember watching.
It wasn't just super exciting, but it was like what's going on in the NFL
You
right
noticed that too?
Yeah, I expected the Lions to beat the Chiefs for the simple fact
Yeah.
no Chris Jones, no Travis Kelce.
So the
They
Lions,
don't really have playmakers in the wide receiver room.
the Lions kicked off the season
Yeah,
by
it was a
beating the
1-point
Chiefs,
win,
beating the defending champions in Arrowhead, 21-20. It's interesting because a lot of people, like we've talked about this before, but like a lot of people have the Lions as their like underdog. But it's like funny. I always think it's funny when everybody has the same team as their underdog. Are they really underrated? Because it sounds like everybody's just rating them the same.
Yeah.
But they were interesting, a team going into the offseason, especially the way they ended last year. As I was interested to see how they would come out and play against the Chiefs. However, once I heard that Travis Kelce and Chris Jones wasn't playing, I did kind of pick the line.
Chris
I did
Jones
thought
did
the Lions.
get
He got his he signed his deal. He was
I don't
sitting
know
out. Chris Jones was sitting out. He wasn't hurt.
Update on Travis.
Yeah,
Yes.
Chris Jones wasn't hurt. He was sitting out, but he still showed up to the stadium. Travis Kelce, I know, hyperextended his knee, which means he'll probably be back this week. But if not, by week 3, I'm certain he'll probably be back.
I can't really find anything, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, it was a tough.
Oh, he practiced in limited capacity yesterday.
Yeah, he'll be back soon. It's not like a crazy injury, and they'll start winning once he
Yeah,
comes
but
back.
Chris Jones coming back is going to help as well.
Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the world, but he's also not Superman.
He's
Like
not
he's not
Superman.
going to will, especially when Tony's dropping.
I mean,
those
yeah,
passes
that was insane. He dropped like 5 passes.
4 or 5. Like
He caused like 2 interceptions. Like,
Yeah.
wait, I don't know
that
how,
pick
how
6,
many-
man. That pick
yeah.
6, that pretty early on. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, the Lions narrowly beat the Chiefs, but if
I feel like
Ford
that's
for a
a
couple
good
turnovers.
thing for. I think Dan Campbell is really excited about them.
I like Dan Campbell a lot.
Yeah,
he's one of my favorite
Yeah,
coaches
he is
in the
one of
NFL
my
so
favorite.
far.
I think he's really excited about them and the pieces that he has, like Jameer Gibbs, like it's crazy.
Jameer Gibbs came out and played pretty
It's
great too. I
crazy,
think he
bro.
had like the most broken
Yeah, he
tackles
broke
of
7
anybody.
tackles.
Yeah, of anybody.
And like
opening week.
10 touches. Like
He did well,
Yeah, he
and
did
they'll
great.
continue to give him more.
Dave
I mean,
Montgomery. I think they're gonna. Dave Montgomery had most of the carries. He had about 20, 25
they'll
carries.
split him, but you're
I feel
not.
like Jameer is gonna
Yeah.
probably about week 4, especially Jameer is gonna be like, all right, he's a running back 1, and it's gonna be more of a like Alvin Kamara or DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams. Like
That's how I
DeAndre
think.
Swift is gonna drive.
I think they're
him.
going to continue to do that because
Jameer
you
Gibbs is
don't
gonna want
pick
to be to drive him, and then
you don't pick a running
yeah,
back 12th,
not
and
12. Yeah, that's
12th,
crazy.
and then be like, oh, okay, David Montgomery's gonna, and then go out and be like, okay, David Montgomery's gonna be our
Yeah.
guy. Like you pick him 12th. The plan is for him to be
Yeah.
RB1. I think, like you said, I think they're gonna run the same thing they run last year. I think Jamar, yeah, I think Gibbs will get most of the carries going
Yeah.
in. I think he'll lead them up to the goal line or as much as he can and be involved in that action. And
But then they go get the heavy hitter.
once they
David
get in the
Montgomery
red zone, they'll
inside
put
the
David
10.
Montgomery and they're
Yeah.
inside the 10, first and goal. Like,
Or maybe if they
just-
need a passing play, he's gonna come right back in. But
Gibbs
you know.
is a threat in the passing game too, which is something Montgomery really isn't right now. But both of them, I think that'll be a good running back deal. I don't think Jared Goff's as bad of a QB,
He's
not bad
he's
QB
not-
at all.
I feel like Dan Campbell's and his OC system just fits him in.
Yeah, it wasn't a good
He
fit.
just didn't look good.
It wasn't a good fit for Goff in LA.
Yeah.
Just because he got traded for Matt Stafford does not mean he was a bad QB. And I was telling people that like when he got traded, like Jared Goff's a good quarterback. He's proven that he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a good fit in Los Angeles. I think it's a great fit for him right now in Detroit. I think he's doing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lions look pretty good. I don't think like they're gonna continue to knock off the top teams in the NFL. I think they got a little bit lucky with the Chiefs, but
Yeah.
respect where credit where credit's due. They came into Arrowhead, Chiefs, ring ceremony banner, like they were getting all this stuff for
Yeah.
the Super Bowl, and they came in and sent them home with an L. So I mean, like I said, respect where respect's due. I thought the Lions played really great. I thought the Chiefs. I'm not worried about the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm not either. I mean, at one point lost without the best arguably
Without
the
your
best
number one,
playmaker in the
your
world,
number one target,
and then also without the best, maybe the best, well, probably the best interior defensive lineman in the NFL.
One of, if not the best.
Yeah, so
linemen.
I feel like they'll be good. How
It's
do you feel
whatever.
about Baltimore this year, though?
So
With the
Baltimore
25-9
Baltimore look-
against the
yeah.
Texans.
They won 25-9 against the Texans. CJ Stroud's debut. Like you were expecting them to win. I thought this going into the season, like they got new offensive coordinator,
Yeah.
new receivers. You drafted Zay Flowers. You got Odell Beckham Jr. in free agency. And then Lamar Jackson signed that new contract, which anytime a quarterback signs a new big contract, like it's going to change something. You don't know exactly what it is, but it's always going to change something. So I immediately thought it would take a game or two or more for this Ravens team to click and gel and like figure it all out.
Zay Flowers looks insane.
Zay Flowers did look
Yeah,
great.
he looks crazy.
He
like,
did look great. He
like,
looked good.
Yeah, I want to see OBJ get a little bit more targets.
Yeah, he
this
wasn't
upcoming
being
game.
targeted that much.
But I wonder how the offense will change with Mark Andrews being back. Or
Yeah,
whenever he's back.
Mark Andrews was out, I think, with a quad or hamstring injury last.
I don't really remember.
I don't remember. Quad or
I do
hamstring
want to
injury
see
last
OBJ.
week.
I think Lamar even voiced that the only thing that he could say like that he wants differently from game one is that OBJ gets the ball a little bit more.
I mean, yeah,
Because
they paid him for it.
OBJ is a great playmaker, and I feel like when he's on the field, you need to capitalize on him being on the field without his his injury pad, like his past injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I do think they need to capitalize on that. J.K. Dobbins tore his Achilles, man.
Yeah.
I think it's just time
Yeah.
to retire.
Feel
for him.
bad for J.K.
Two
Dobbins.
ACLs and Achilles, man. That's just crazy.
I immediately, even for fantasy players out there, like you're picking
Yeah.
fantasy teams, and I saw
knew
him.
not- I
He
knew
was
not
on
to
my
pick
board.
him.
I saw him, and it was between him. I don't even remember.
I knew
who
not to
picked
pick
over
him. I ain't gonna lie.
I don't even.
Well, everybody, man, we had more stuff to say, but the camera is like, let me try to show y'all. The camera is just like the SD card was full and the battery died. There's a lot of stuff going on, but we're going to try to invest in our own like little setup or whatever with our camera or whatever. So we're going to be working on that next week. But come back next week. We got a lot more to talk about. We're going to keep going week by week. We're going to keep pushing through all these technical difficulties we're going through. We'll be back. Remember, I'm just saying.